Hello everybody, welcome back to the X-Ray. This is my 6th episode. In few episodes we have talked a lot of famous people before. Today we're gonna talk one more, the last and the final one. Mr. John Calvin. Who is Mr. John Calvin? Mr. John Calvin was born on July 10, 1509, in a small town near Paris, France. Mr. John Calvin, when he was young, sadly his mother died. His father was well known in the town, so knew many wealthy people. So he provided, and he was the commander of the town. He provided a good education to John Calvin as well as he could. Mr. Calvin's father taught him that sin was not to be tolerated and must not to be considered as good deeds. And when Mr. John Calvin was 12 years old, same as me, he was sent away to live with a wealthy family. And so he was become a really good scholar in his room. In AD 1523, when John Calvin was 14 years old, he entered a college in Paris. He attended another college where he studied philosophy and theology. The last school he attended was a school of law he was graduated in AD 1531. Having earned a degree in law, Mr. John was really happy and really pleased with his score. And he began with his school of law and keep studying until he's graduated. And after that, he began serving in school. He was very attentive to his teachers, was diligent in studying. After he received his law degree, he also began reading the famous of Christian leaders. As Mr. Calvin studied, he began to realize many churches have not consistent thinking. He thinks that their thinkings are not good. When Mr. Calvin realized that salvation is a gift from God, he believed and then started teaching it. Mr. opened for souls to come, and that the mercy of God he said that we're saved by grace, not merits, not by works. After that, he was able to influence many traditional church that thinks salvation is given through work. And then he was given a lawyer position in France, Paris. In AD, John Calvin wrote a book called Institute. He explained that salvation is by grace, and he really introduced the word. He preached full of wisdom. He was a really great leader. And then the King of France has ordered, but after long years, sadly, the King of France has ordered that all those who think that salvation is by grace should be killed. Is this called Christian? Do God kill you when you do not believe in Him? So Mr. Mr. John Calvin was taken, his religious freedom was taken. And Mr. Calvin left Germany and was allowed to visit Frankfurt. Mr. Calvin had to hide in Germany during this persecution. He was allowed to visit France for 6 years. Mr. Calvin went back several years after that. He was planning to return to Germany but on his way, he was stopped in Switzerland, and he stayed there in Switzerland and preached the gospel to the Swiss people. And he became the most famous person that time in Swiss city. In AD 14, Meerwin and other preachers, he served the Swiss people for 20 years. In this story, we can learn that he really trusts in God. He really trusts in God and listened to God, and put his faith in Him, and stay with his opinion, his right opinion, and trust in God. I'm really happy with Mr. John Calvin. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.